As you look down upon this great city, listen to the story of a lifetime of enterprise, achievement, and giving. The story of a man and a family that made Haifa its home and never stopped saying thank you. How did it all begin? On February 22, 1922, in the Romanian town of Galati on the Danube, Joseph and Sila Hershkovitz welcomed their second son into the world. Shmuel, nicknamed Sammy, joined his older brother David. A younger brother, Yuli, would follow. A deteriorating economy and rising anti-Semitism pushed many Jews to seek new lives elsewhere. In 1925, Joseph departed for Haifa, bringing his family along a year later. It was the beginning of a lifelong adventure.
My brother David, who was 6 at the time, remembered the very moment we reached land. He would tell me about Mount Carmel, which suddenly rose up before us, about Haifa, and about Father Joseph waiting for us on shore.
Life in then Palestine began in a poor neighborhood. Sammy's father sold kerosene from a horse-drawn cart. About 5 years later, he began supplying ships with fresh vegetables, and the family had enough money to move to Bat Galim, at the foot of Mount Carmel. Sammy's love of the sea began early. At age 11, he joined the Zvulun Sailing Club. The idea of going to sea fueled his imagination.
Each of us saw himself as a potential captain. We dreamed of joining the Navy and seeing the world.
The family needed money, so at age 14, Sammy left school and began working as a messenger boy for Dizengoff & Company steamship agents.
I thought it would be appropriate to help father, but he in his wisdom told me, first go work for an outside company. Only when you have a boss who is not your father might you understand what discipline is.
Later, Sammy and his brothers joined their father's business. J. Hershkovitz & Sons was established, eventually becoming ship's agents. With the outbreak of World War II, Sammy enlisted in the British Royal Navy. At war's end, he rejoined the family business, but he would soon be back in uniform.
אנו מכריזים בזאת על הקמת מדינה יהודית בארץ ישראל. היא מדינת ישראל.
On May 14, 1948, Israel declared its independence. War broke out the next day. Sammy joined the new Israeli Navy, going on to command the gunboat INS Tirza. On the day of his wedding to Aviva, he was on sea patrol, arriving at the ceremony 2 hours late. The family business grew and thrived, and in 1950, Sammy and Aviva welcomed their first son, Eyal. 5 years later came a second son, Idan. Their parents set high standards for both of them. As his family grew, Sammy worked to grow his company. In 1956, he purchased MV Hashlosha, renaming it Eyal after his son. He chartered ships and established Mediterranean seaways, which became a major cargo carrier to Israel.
Hard work and reaching the goal and sticking to the task was paramount.
During summer holidays from high school, Eyal and Didan worked as crew members on their father's ships.
Beginning as a trainee and then an ordinary seaman, my jobs were the lowliest on the ships. Kitchen duties, scraping hulls and painting, lifting ropes, splicing, or keeping watch at night.
Their father's hard work ethos served his sons well. After 2 years of study at Atlantic College in Wales, Eyal did his military service in the legendary Golani Brigade and then in the Israeli Air Force, before studying law in London. Further solidifying its ties with Israel, in 1968, the Hershkovitz family Hebraicized its name to Ofer. By the end of the 1960s, the Ofer family owned an impressive fleet of ships, later chartering them to its main rival, Zim. Not long after, Sammy moved to London and established Zodiac Maritime Agencies. Together with his sons, he went on to build a worldwide shipping empire. But the 1980s were a reminder that life on the sea is always unpredictable.
The 80s was a period of very high interest rates, very high inflation, and total chaos in many parts of the world. Shipping was doing very poorly, so we decided to diversify into something which is more fundamental to our existence.
Spearheading new ventures, Eyal and his young family moved to New York, taking on the challenges of commercial real estate. Idan moved to the Far East.
So I took upon myself to develop the real estate element of it with the view of securing assets which will give us a long-term view without the upheavals of shipping.
Sammy spent much of his life in Europe, but his ties to Israel and Haifa remained unbreakable. In 2004, Sammy and his wife Aviva dedicated this observation gallery atop the Eshkol Tower. Sammy expressed his hope that future generations would come here to dream a little, aspire a lot, and be inspired by the endless horizons yet to be explored.
There is something majestic, there is something mysterious, there's something very, very challenging about the sea. The sea offers you endless possibilities.
Several years later, the University of Haifa awarded Sammy Ofer an honorary doctorate for his contributions to the development of the Israeli economy, international trade, and his generous support of cultural and educational institutions, including academic scholarships. Haifa was always on Sammy's mind. In 2007, he supported the construction of a modern 31,000-seat sports stadium, which now bears his name. He was a generous philanthropist who donated more than $100 million to major Israeli hospitals, the Sammy Ofer Heart Building at Tel Aviv's Ichilov Hospital, and in Haifa, the underground emergency hospital at Rambam Medical Center, a first-of-its-kind facility. Just a year before the completion of those projects, on June 3, 2011, Sammy Ofer died. He was a sailor to the end.
אבל סמי כמו ימאי אמיתי, כשעזב את חיפה בים, עשה את הסיבוב בכל העולם, ובסוף, כמו כל ימאי ותיק, חזר לנמל הבית. זה היה סמי. כולכם, בטובכם, תיארתם אותו כמעט לאשורו. מה שאני חושב שיהיה נכון לומר ולהזכיר, חיפה זו עיר שלנו.
As chairman of Ofer Global, Eyal continues to expand upon his father's legacy, growing the business in maritime shipping, expanding into real estate and hotels, technology, banking, energy, and large public investments, with all his children working alongside him. The Eyal and Marilyn Ofer Family Foundation continues supporting major projects in Israel and around the world, in education, healthcare, and the arts.
You can give people food, you can give people money, you can give people clothes. We chose education. By giving people education, we give them tools to achieve all the other aspects of giving.
Today, the foundation supports over 150 scholarships a year and continues to expand its projects. In 2016, the foundation donated the Eyal Ofer Heart Hospital at the Rambam Healthcare Campus in Haifa. It funded the renovation of this observation deck and the inauguration of a new university conference center. In Sammy Ofer's spirit, his son Eyal and his grandchildren carry on his tradition.
My father was a visionary. He was a pioneer. He built a great business, but never forgot his roots and never forgot to give back. My family and I are truly honored to continue what he began.
This is the story of one family's unending love affair with Haifa, Israel, and the world.